Welcome back to Slow English Stories. Today, we are presenting an extended special, The Long Road to Discovery. This is an expanded version of Saduni's first day at university. We have enriched the descriptions and added more dialogue to help you hear how English is spoken in real-life situations. As always, keep an eye out for our 5 key phrases in blue. They are, put up or shut up, take your time, I'm on my way, I can hold my own, and cut to the chase. Get comfortable, breathe deeply, and let's begin our journey. The story, My First Day at University. Chapter 1, The Departure. My name is Saduni. At 18 years old, the world suddenly felt much larger than it did a year ago. Today was the day I would leave my small, quiet village to attend university in the city. For weeks I had dreamt of this moment, but as I stood in my bedroom, the reality of it felt heavy. I spent hours the night before organizing my life into a single suitcase. I folded my clothes neatly, tucked my favorite books into the corners, and placed a framed photo of my family on top. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined getting on the wrong train or forgetting the name of my dorm. I kept checking the alarm clock on my nightstand. 2 a.m., 3:15 a.m., 4:45 a.m. Finally, the sun began to peek through the curtains. I took a deep breath, dressed in my smartest outfit, and walked to the train station. The morning air was crisp and cool. As I stood on the platform, my heart felt like a drum beating against my ribs. "I can do this," I whispered. "I am brave." The train pulled into the station with a loud hiss of steam. I climbed the steps and found a seat by the window. As the train lurched forward, I watched my mother waving from the platform until she was just a small speck in the distance. I leaned my head against the cool glass, watched the green trees turn into a blur, and whispered to the empty air, "I'm on my way." This was not just a trip to a city, it was my journey toward becoming the person I was meant to be. Chapter 2, An Unexpected Meeting. The train ride lasted 4 hours. I watched the landscape change from rolling hills and farms to tall buildings and busy highways. When the conductor announced Candy Station, my stomach did a nervous flip. I dragged my heavy suitcase onto the platform. The station was a sea of people, all moving much faster than I was used to. My bag was far too heavy for me. I struggled to pull it, my face turning red from the effort. Suddenly, the weight disappeared. A tall, lean boy with a friendly face had grabbed the handle. "You look like you're carrying a suitcase full of bricks," he said with a laugh. "Let me help." I was startled. In my village, we knew everyone, but here he was a stranger. However, his smile was so genuine that I couldn't help but trust him. "Thank you," I said, catching my breath. "I think I overpacked." "I'm Nadun," he said, walking beside me. "I'm heading toward the university. Are you a new student too?" "Yes, it's my first day. I've never been here before. Everything is so loud and fast." Nadun nodded sympathetically. "I felt the same way when I got off my bus, but don't worry, take your time. The city isn't going anywhere, and the university has been there for 100 years. You don't have to learn everything in 1 hour." His words were like a cool breeze on a hot day. We walked out of the station and toward the campus. As he pointed out landmarks, the old library, the famous clock tower, I felt the knots in my stomach begin to loosen. Chapter 3, The Maze of Stone. When we reached the massive iron gates of the university, Nadun had to head to the engineering department while I needed the science building. We said our goodbyes and I walked inside alone. The campus was beautiful, but it was a labyrinth. There were stone statues, fountains, and endless rows of identical-looking doors. I pulled out my map, turning it sideways and upside down, trying to make sense of the lines. I felt small and invisible. For a moment, I wanted to sit on a bench and cry. "Are you looking for the chemistry labs?" a voice asked. I looked up to see a tall girl with her hair tied in a neat bun. She looked like she belonged there. "I'm looking for the main science hall," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "I'm Namali. I'm a senior, which basically means I've spent 3 years getting lost in these buildings. Follow me, I'm heading that way for my own lecture." As we walked, Namali told me stories about her first year. She told me about the time she walked into a faculty meeting thinking it was her history class. We both laughed so hard that I forgot I was supposed to be scared. Chapter 4. The First Lesson. I finally made it to my lecture hall. It was a grand room with rows of wooden desks rising toward the ceiling. I sat down and opened my notebook. A few minutes later, the professor walked in. He wore a dark suit and carried a thick stack of papers. He didn't say good morning, he didn't ask our names. Instead, he began speaking in a very fast, very complex style of English. He talked about molecular structures and biochemical pathways. I looked at my blank notebook. I felt like I was underwater. The professor noticed the confused looks on our faces. He cleared his throat loudly. "I see many of you are waiting for a long introduction, but we have a lot of work to do, so let's cut to the chase. Open your textbooks to page 15 and look at the first diagram." I whispered to the girl sitting next to me. What did he mean by "cut to the chase"? She leaned in and whispered back, "He means he wants to stop wasting time and get to the important part of the lesson. By the way, I'm Nethmi. I'm just as confused as you are." Knowing I wasn't the only one struggling made me feel 100% better. Nethmi and I spent the rest of the lecture helping each other take notes. Chapter 5. The Gift of the Rain. When the class ended, I walked out into the courtyard. The bright morning sun was gone, replaced by heavy, charcoal-colored clouds. Suddenly, the sky opened up. It wasn't just rain, it was a tropical downpour. I didn't have an umbrella. I tried to run toward the cafeteria, but within seconds, my clothes were sticking to my skin and my hair was a mess. I ducked under the small roof of a bus stop, shivering. "Need a lift?" I looked up. It was Nadun. He was holding a large, sturdy umbrella and was remarkably dry. "You again," I exclaimed. "It must be fate," he teased, stepping closer so the umbrella covered us both. "The rain is quite heavy. Let's walk to the canteen and get something warm to drink." We walked side by side, the sound of the rain drumming against the fabric of the umbrella. It felt like we were in our own little world. Inside the canteen, the air smelled like fried ginger and fresh coffee. We sat by the window and watched the rain splash against the glass. "How was your first lecture?" Nadun asked. "Hard," I admitted. "The professor spoke so fast. I'm worried I won't be able to keep up with the other students who went to city schools." Nadun took a sip of his tea and looked me in the eye. "Don't underestimate yourself, Saduni. I grew up in a small town too. The work is difficult, but I can hold my own, and I know you can too. We just have to work twice as hard." His confidence was contagious. "You're right," I said, feeling a new sense of determination. "I can hold my own too." Chapter 6. The Promise by the Lake. By evening, the rain had stopped, leaving the campus sparkling and fresh. Nadun and I walked down to the university lake. The sky was a brilliant shade of orange and purple as the sun began to set. We sat on a wooden bench, watching the ducks swim in the water. Nadun became quiet. He seemed to be thinking deeply. "You know," he said finally, "back home, people told me I shouldn't bother coming here. They said a boy from a village wouldn't survive in a big university." "That's terrible," I said. "It made me angry at first," he admitted, "but then I realized that talking back doesn't help. I told myself, put up or shut up. If I want to prove them wrong, I have to do the work. I have to succeed. Complaining won't change their minds, but my grades will." He turned to look at me. The setting sun caught the light in his eyes. "I'm glad I came here, Saduni, not just for the degree, but because I met you at that station." He reached out and gently took my hand. His palm was warm. I didn't pull away. "I'm glad I met you too, Nadun." That night, back in my small dorm room, I opened my diary. I wrote, "Today started with fear and a heavy suitcase, but it ended with coffee, a shared umbrella, and a promise. I am no longer just on my way. I am here and I am ready." What an incredible first day for Saduni. Now let's take a moment to really understand these 5 phrases from Slow English Stories so you can use them in your own life. Put up or shut up. This is a strong phrase. We use it when we want someone to stop talking about their big plans and actually start doing them. Example, you keep saying you can swim across the lake. Well, put up or shut up. The water is right there. Take your time. This is a very polite and kind phrase. Use it to tell someone there is no pressure. Example, I know the menu is long. Take your time. The waiter isn't here yet. I'm on my way. You can use this literally, meaning you are traveling, or figuratively, meaning you have started a new phase of life. Example, I just left the house. I'm on my way to the party. I can hold my own. Use this when you want to say you are capable of handling a difficult situation, even if others doubt you. Example, the debate was tough, but I held my own and answered every question. Cut to the chase. This is perfect for business or school. It means get to the point. Example, I have to leave in 5 minutes, so please cut to the chase and tell me the final decision. Thank you for joining us at Slow English Stories. Remember, the best way to learn is to listen and repeat.